In 1981, a 12-year-old boy fell into a sinkhole in his own backyard, 150 feet deep, filled with lethal gas, heated by a fire that had been burning under his town for 20 years. A fire the government knew about and did nothing to stop. That town is on this list, but it is not number one. Some roads are creepy because of what happened on them. Shades of Death Road in Warren County, New Jersey is creepy because nobody can fully agree on why it got its name. The road is about 7 miles long, cutting through thick forest and swampland in the northwestern part of the state. Warren County has a population of around 108,000. Median home price sits at about $360,000. It sounds like a perfectly normal New Jersey suburb on paper, but this road has carried the name Shades of Death since at least the 1800s. One theory links it to a string of murders along the route during that era. Another says it refers to the malaria outbreaks caused by the surrounding swamps that killed dozens of settlers. A third claims highwaymen ambushed travelers through the dense tree cover and left their bodies in the brush. The county government has tried to change the name multiple times. Residents keep stealing the signs as souvenirs, and the name keeps coming back. Imagine your GPS calmly telling you to turn left onto Shades of Death Road at night, in the rain, alone. Sometimes the creepiest thing about a place is not what happened there. It is the fact that the name survived long enough for everyone to stop asking why. But if an unsettling name bothers you, the next place has something worse. In Ojai, California, just outside Ventura, there is a bridge on Creek Road that locals call Charman Bridge. Ojai is a small town of about 7,500 people. Median household income is around $75,000. The area is known for art galleries, organic farms, and weekend retreats. Picture Postcard California. But the legend attached to this bridge goes back to a wildfire in 1948. The story says a man and his son were caught in the blaze. The father died. The son survived, but was burned beyond recognition. According to locals, he never left the area. He became the Charman, a disfigured figure who wanders Creek Road at night. Drivers who stop on the bridge have reported something scratching at their car doors. Others say they have found deep claw marks on their vehicles the next morning. There is no police record confirming the Charman, but locals in Ojai will tell you not to stop on that bridge after dark with a sincerity that makes you wonder what they have seen. Some places have the kind of story that makes you laugh during the day and lock your doors at night. Now head across the country to northern New Jersey because Clinton Road in West Milford is considered the most haunted road in America. This is not a local rumor. A global travel study ranked it the most searched haunted road on Earth, with nearly 400,000 online searches in a single year. The road is 10 miles long, running through dense forest with almost no houses and no connecting roads. But the most famous story is about a ghost boy. Near a spot called Dead Man's Curve, locals say if you toss a coin off the bridge into the water below, the boy's ghost will throw it back. Dozens of coins have been found shimmering in the creek bed by investigators. But the real horror on Clinton Road is not supernatural. In 1983, a cyclist found a human body dumped off the side of the road. The victim turned out to be Daniel Deppner. 3 years later, investigators traced the killing to Richard Kuklinski, a contract killer known as the Iceman, who admitted to freezing his victims before dumping them. Authorities believe there may be more bodies in those woods that have never been found. Clinton Road proves something uncomfortable. Sometimes the scariest thing about a haunted road is not the ghosts. It is the real monsters who use the darkness for cover. And if Clinton Road unsettles you, the next place will make it seem like a scenic drive. Stull, Kansas is a tiny unincorporated community in Douglas County, just south of Lawrence. Population barely breaks 20. There is almost nothing there except farmland, a few homes, and a crumbling cemetery. But Stull Cemetery has been called one of the 7 gateways to hell. The legend exploded in 1974 after a University of Kansas student newspaper article claimed the devil himself visits the cemetery twice a year, on Halloween and the spring equinox. Since then, visitors have reported memory lapses, sudden drops in temperature, black-robed figures moving between headstones, and an old stone church where rain allegedly refused to fall inside even though it had no roof. One widely repeated claim says that when Pope John Paul II flew over Kansas, his pilot rerouted the plane to avoid Stull's airspace. Whether that is true or exaggerated, the fact that the story exists at all tells you something about this cemetery's reputation. Stull proves that a place does not need a large population to generate a massive legend. Sometimes 20 people and one graveyard are more than enough. But the next place is not about legends. It is about what happens when paradise rots. The Salton Sea in Southern California was supposed to be the next Palm Springs. In the 1950s, developers built luxury resorts along its shoreline. Celebrity visitors came for the boating, the fishing, the desert sun. Then toxic agricultural runoff began pouring in. Salinity levels climbed past ocean water. Fish died by the millions. The stench of rotting tilapia carried for miles. The resorts emptied. The towns around the shore, places like Bombay Beach and Salton City, collapsed. Bombay Beach today has a population of roughly 295. Median household income sits at about $22,000. Rusted trailers line streets that lead to a shoreline crusted with dead fish and salt. The air quality is among the worst in the state, and yet people still live there. The Salton Sea is not haunted by ghosts. It is haunted by a broken promise. The idea that this was supposed to be paradise. That contrast between what was sold and what remains is creepier than any ghost story. Now, deep in the forests of northwestern Connecticut, there is a place you are not allowed to visit. Dudleytown is not on any map. The roads that once led there look like hiking trails now. Only cellar holes and scattered stone foundations remain, slowly being swallowed by the forest. The Dudley family settled this valley near Cornwall in the 1740s. By the 1800s, the settlement was abandoned. The official reason was poor soil. The unofficial reason is a curse. The story traces back to 1510, when Edmund Dudley was beheaded in England for plotting against King Henry VIII. A curse was supposedly placed on the Dudley bloodline. Settlers in Dudleytown reported madness, unexplained deaths, and neighbors who vanished without explanation. Today, the land is privately owned by a conservation group that has made trespassing a criminal offense. Despite that, people still try to get in. Those who do report an unnatural silence in the woods. No birds, no insects, no wind, and the sensation of phantom hands touching them as they walk through the ruins. Dudleytown proves that some places are not abandoned. They are sealed off. And there is usually a reason for that. If you are still watching, you either love this stuff or you are genuinely concerned about your next road trip. Either way, hit like so the algorithm knows you prefer creepy small towns over whatever else it is trying to recommend. And subscribe, because this is only getting worse. The United States government does not typically buy an entire town and then refuse to explain why. But that is essentially what happened to Boston Township, Ohio, better known as Helltown. In 1974, President Gerald Ford signed a bill allowing the National Park Service to seize private land for national parks through eminent domain. They chose Boston Township. Families were forced out. Houses were boarded up with government no trespassing signs. Roads were blocked. And then the town just sat there, empty, for decades. In that emptiness, legends grew. A white church decorated with upside-down crosses, supposedly used for satanic rituals. An abandoned school bus in the woods with no explanation for how it got there. A road so steep and winding that locals called it End of the World Road because at night, the sharp drop made it look like the pavement simply stopped existing. The town was demolished in 2016 and absorbed into Cuyahoga Valley National Park. But the stories did not get demolished with it. Helltown proves something about abandoned places. The longer a place sits empty, the more the human imagination fills it. And what the imagination puts there is almost always worse than what was actually left behind. Now, number 3, and from here, it only gets more disturbing. Centralia, Pennsylvania was a normal coal town of over 1,000 people, 14 active mines, churches, shops, a little league field. Then in 1962, the town council approved a routine trash burn in the local landfill. The fire spread into the abandoned coal mine tunnels beneath the town. Every attempt to extinguish it failed. The fire found a coal seam and kept burning. For years, residents lived above it. Smoke seeped through cracks in the ground. Carbon monoxide levels rose inside homes. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski fell into a sinkhole that opened in his backyard. A hole 4 feet wide and 150 feet deep, filled with lethal gas. He survived only because his cousin grabbed his arms. After that, the government finally acted, but slowly. It took until 1992 for the state to condemn all property through eminent domain. In 2002, the Postal Service revoked Centralia's zip code. Today, 5 people remain. The fire is still burning. Scientists estimate it could continue for another 250 years. The streets are still laid out. Stop signs still stand at intersections where no one drives. Centralia is not a ghost town because people left. It is a ghost town because the ground itself turned against them. If Centralia is the place where the earth burns, the next one is the place where reality breaks. Skinwalker Ranch sits in the Uinta Basin of northeastern Utah, 512 acres of ranch land that has been the epicenter of paranormal research for decades. The property is named after the Navajo Skinwalker, a shape-shifting entity from indigenous legend that the Ute people warned settlers about for centuries. In the 1990s, rancher Terry Sherman reported cattle mutilations with surgical precision. No blood, no tracks. Glowing orbs that moved through the sky in patterns that ruled out aircraft. Animals that appeared out of nowhere and vanished mid-stride. Disembodied voices. Equipment that malfunctioned only within the property line and worked perfectly outside it. Billionaire Robert Bigelow purchased the ranch and funded a scientific research team through the National Institute for Discovery Science. Their findings were never fully published, but researchers described phenomena they could not explain using any known framework. The ranch is now under private research with security so tight that the perimeter is monitored around the clock. Local UT elders still will not set foot on the property. Skinwalker Ranch is unsettling, not because of ghost stories or urban legends, but because credentialed scientists went in looking for rational explanations and came out saying they could not find any. And finally, number 1. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Population 4,200. Median household income around $34,000. A small river town at the confluence of the Ohio and Kanawha rivers. Nothing about Point Pleasant looks remarkable on paper. But for 13 months between 1966 and 1967, residents reported seeing something in the sky and in the woods around town. A creature roughly 7 feet tall, with a 10-foot wingspan and glowing red eyes. They called it the Mothman. The first sighting was reported on November 15, 1966, when 2 young couples told police that a winged figure chased their car near an abandoned World War II munitions plant known as the TNT area. Over the next year, more than 100 sightings were reported. Then, on December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour. 46 people died. 2 bodies were never recovered. The official cause was a structural failure, a single eye-bar fracture that brought down the entire suspension bridge. But the timing created a legend that has never faded. The Mothman sighting stopped after the bridge fell. Many locals believe the creature was a warning. Others believe it caused the collapse. Today, Point Pleasant has a 12-foot Mothman statue, a dedicated museum, and an annual Mothman festival. But ask the older residents, the ones who remember 1967, and the conversation gets quieter. They do not celebrate the Mothman. They remember the bridge. Point Pleasant proves the most disturbing kind of creepy, not the kind that comes from legends or ghost stories, but the kind that comes from a real disaster that no one saw coming, followed by a mystery that no one has been able to close. If you made it through all 10, You are either brave or making a mental list of towns to avoid on your next road trip. Either way, subscribe. Next week, we are covering places even worse than these. Think of it as a public safety announcement.